Boxing Bros UK. I'm one of them. Be one of them yourself.
Hello, everybody. Boxing Bros UK here. I am a Hiss the Boss Chris. This is my co-host Andrew the Boxing Brain. The topic of the day is I seen a clip of a video. I found it quite disturbing, to be honest. So Tunde Ajayi is having a conversation with Simon Jordan, who I'm starting to warm to a bit now. He still talks shit sometimes, but sometimes he tells the truth. And basically, Tunde Ajayi is trying to say that Callum Smith and Anthony Yard, that basically they're on the same level, or Yard's the A side. Basically trying to say Yard is the A side in that fight. So I won't say no more. I'll let everybody judge for themselves. Let's get into it. We're going to do a watch along here.
Tunde. Oh, God, got to endure listening to him. No.
Lyndon Arthur winning via a unanimous decision. But it was interesting that before we speak to the manager of Anthony Yard, Tunde, and many people still calling for Anthony Yard against Callum Smith. I mentioned Anthony's
known that, and
Tunde Ajayi. Tunde joins us live this lunchtime. Tunde, good afternoon to you.
Oh, good afternoon, Jim.
Good to speak to you, mate. Thanks so much for joining us. Listen, your man, Anthony, has he finally settled this rivalry with Arthur?
I would say so. You know,
Blood.
Lyndon,
Thank God for that.
Literally been a nightmare that I couldn't wake up from for many years. And it was great to finally put that to bed, because I've always known that and is a level above the Lyndon Arthurs.
It didn't need to be put to bed, did it?
That Lyndon Arthur
It needs to be put to bed.
Yeah, and are you now talking about your man, Anthony Yard, fighting Callum Smith?
Listen, we're ready. It's a fight.
I'll just pause it there for a second. He didn't show that he's levels above. He just showed that he wanted to win more in the final rounds. That's what it showed. That he's got more heart, a more ball, a more determination, that he really wanted to win more in the final round. So, because Lyndon Arthur just capitulated towards the end and didn't really try and win, did he? Kind of gave up, unfortunately.
There ain't a great deal between them, was there? In the second fight, he just emptied the tank and went for him and got him out of there. And it was such a conclusive victory that nobody, not one boxing fan, did I go, oh, I'll tell you what, right, we need another fight for Anthony. I'll tell you what, do the Yard trilogy, because the second fight wasn't conclusive enough. We need to... Fuck me.
Yeah, that third fight, what Tunde said there is wrong. I do believe he's not. He just showed he had more heart and he wanted to win more. He didn't show that
stronger and stronger as well.
Yeah, he didn't pass him and like, wow, there's levels to this game. Above his level, he didn't show that. They could have another fight again and Arthur could win. So he's wrong there.
Well, we don't know if Yard's world level, do we? Because he lost to Kovalev and Baturb. I know we'll talk about this in a minute, so I won't repeat over it. Callum Smith's been a world champion. I'm sure you'll go into this a bit as well. But Lyndon Arthur's probably European level. And Anthony Yard is flattered to deceive. Like, for all his potential and ability, I don't know if he's much beyond European level anyway. Like, I don't know.
Exactly. Right, let's get back to it.
Yeah.
To me, the fight's already signed, sealed, and delivers. I've seen the first swerving has already started. It started last year when they offered us the fight. We accepted with open arms, and George Warren, that is, told me he retired. They told me he's on holiday. Told me he's getting married, and we would never hear from Callum Smith again. Lo and behold, he pops up. Has a run out and fights Boatsi, another serial ducker who I don't really want to talk about.
Tunde, it proved a hard fight last time out. Lyndon Arthur, after the manner that he beat him the last time, going into this fight, he started a big favourite going into this fight, Anthony Yard, and he had to dig deep at times there. And Lyndon Arthur proved a difficult customer to overcome. Was you expecting that?
Well, absolutely. And I think I said it to Simon the last time I was on the show. This wasn't going to be the same fight. You know, you have two guys coming from the same kind of, background, two trainers. I think I'm a bit more outspoken than Pat, but Pat can rub people up in a way that he wants to rub them up. And there was a lot on the line for this third fight. A WBA ranking, a WBA belt, a situation where we were we were both going to be in world title fights next. And I feel that this is what a lot of people overlooked. I knew Lyndon would prepare the best he's ever prepared. I knew it was his last shot. So, you know, I already knew what the game plan was. Take Yard late because he runs out of gas. Well, you saw Anthony throw more punches in the 11th and 12th than he threw in the first. So I think if anyone's coming with that game plan, they better reassess.
Yeah.
Because AY has ticked that box now.
Tunde Simon is here, as you know. Anthony Yard against Callum Smith. Do you want to see it? Is this the fight the boxing public should be getting?
No, I've not been hugely impressed with Anthony's last two. I'm a big fan of Anthony Yard, and I admire the way he fights, and the fact that, and I didn't feel there was a necessity for a third fight with Lyndon Arthur, because I think the second fight was so conclusive, the job was done. In the interests of a one-all perspective, I understand the merits of it. I doubt whether Callum Smith ducks anybody. I spoke to Callum and did a one-on-one with him a year ago, and he certainly didn't say he was retiring at all. So that's a myth. What he said was, that I'm going to assess the landscape and only want meaningful fights. And if that means there's some meaningful fights available to me, I want another world title. I want another world-class set of opportunities, and I want to win a world title. So he fought Boatsy because it was a fight that could be made. I would pick Callum Smith on recent form to beat Anthony Yard, because I think his performance against Josh Boatsy was exceptional. I think he's a world-class
I'll go with that as well.
So what about his performance against Beterbiev?
Oh, here we go.
He was a real world-class performer.
And he got by Beterbiev in the same way that your guy did.
No. Our fight was fight of the year, Simon.
But he's still got, but your guy still
Our
got
fight was fight of the year because it was a fight.
Agreed.
And Callum Smith, on 2 occasions, and let's get it right. You talk about recent form. Who was Boatsy for? Dan Aziz, Craig Richards, Willie Hutchinson. These are not yet anyway, and that's no disrespect to them. Guys, where you can...
Craig Richards.
Just want to pause it there.
An opponent, Chris. What's he going on about? They're decent opponents from where Boatsy was at.
All them names that Tunde just listed
are
all just as good as Lyndon Arthur. All of them.
Absolutely. Agree with that.
Are just as good as Lyndon Arthur. They would, if Lyndon Arthur fought any of them, they'd all be 50-50 fights. So he's got no right to sit there and discredit Boatsy and say, oh, who has he beat? Who has Anthony Yard beat? Nobody. Absolutely nobody.
I didn't know whether to say this now or later, but it's just coming to mind now. He's one of these managers and trainers, because he seems to be his mentor, life coach, therapist, trainer, fucking like Tunde and Anthony Yard show. Completely held back his career as far as I'm concerned. I worry that he doesn't say anything constructive to Anthony. You know, like a proper trainer of being there like, listen, you stunk the place out of that fight. We got to work on it. Seems to blow smoke up Anthony's arse all the time. I know he's got to come out and protect his fighter, but do you seriously think, Chris, like behind all these lions in the camp, oh, you're so one, he probably fucking oils up his muscles for him. Like, it's not a bit weird, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Just a little bit.
What's going on?
Like, he doesn't give anyone else any credit. He puts them down when Anthony Yard has done nothing. You can't sit there and discredit Boatsy's resume when Anthony Yard didn't fight any of these guys. You can't just, I hate this. His team do this all the time. You can't just say he's better than them without fighting them. You can't do it. It's not right.
Be constructive, for the love of God.
Let's see if bullshit comes out of his mouth now.
Guys,
Tunde, a lot of people think
they are tried and tested.
A lot of people think that Bivol, the fight that Craig Richards had with Bivol, was a really good fight, and the fact that Craig Richards had a little bit more belief in himself could have beaten Bivol. And I don't think you'd argue that Bivol is a world-class fighter, given the fact he's just beaten Beterbiev. So I think we can all make arguments.
The point what I'm saying is, for you to make such a statement, who has Callum Smith fought and beat of a level where you can say they are world-class?
He was a world champion for a start.
Put it back to you then, about Anthony.
Carlos on down.
Points. Bivol is now the undisputed champion. He fought Beterbiev. We lost in a fight of the year. Beterbiev was the same champion. Smith has fought both guys and never even look like he won a round. So
he won't stop him. He's off on a rant.
That he's in a better position, a better place than Anthony Yard.
Because I think he's a better fighter than Anthony.
Smith has only ever beaten a fighter like George Grove, a British fighter. To this day, Callum Smith has not fought competitively against a world champion. Was Anthony Yard competitive against Kovalev? Yes, he was.
Yeah, but he lost.
Him in the 8th
but he
round.
lost.
Was Anthony Yard competitive against...
Also, I'll pause it there, Chris. And when he said there, right, this is what annoyed me when you showed me this clip where he doesn't take any accountability. I get sick of this. Like, they're not coming out and being able to say any flaws. Was he competitive against Kovalev? Yeah. But you sent him out in the 7th, 8th round and told him to empty the tank. And then he got stopped with a jab because he was so fucking gassed and fucked. He had nothing left. Like, you got to come out and like take some accountability and go, yeah, on reflection, probably shouldn't have gone in with that advice at that point in the fight. But he won't do it, Chris, will he? Won't do it.
Just wants to discredit other people's achievements. He's an idiot.
Better be of life and death.
Yeah, well,
Oliver is sitting right next to you. He told you it was
Jumping
the best fight, one of the best fights he ever.
It was a great fight. I was there. I
In
was
a
there.
situation
I was there, Tunde.
where
I was Tunde. I think it was a great
Oh, he
fight.
done my head.
It's better be fantastic. I still think on current form,
the fight of the year. It wasn't named the fight of the year because it wasn't a fight.
you're fine.
Tunde,
You've landed your point. You've landed your point.
I said better against Canelo was the fight.
Oh, God.
It was no. We're talking about meriting the two fighters. Callum Smith,
didn't he?
Anthony Yarde.
I totally understand where you're coming
Who
from.
do you think wins?
I think that
Who do you think wins, Spence?
when you're looking at recent performances and you look at Callum Smith's last performance and you look at Anthony Yarde's last performance, you go, did we underestimate actually how good Lyndon Arthur was, or was Anthony Yarde lackluster to the Anthony Yarde that we've seen in previous fights? Because he had to dig deep there, Tunde. That's a fair comment.
Spencer, sorry, sir. That means you are undermining.
No, you're making...
Come on, I'll behave.
Undermining Lyndon Arthur.
He drives you mad, doesn't he? He drives you mad.
We're not undermining Lyndon Arthur.
Jesus
Mouth said that his plan was to not get knocked out for that fight because he took it on short notice and the money was too good to turn down. That was his words out of his own mouth. So, yeah, we are undermining Lyndon Arthur because he went in there basically saying that, knowing that he was going to lose and didn't try to win against Bivol. So how can you say that a man with that mentality is a credible opponent and say that he's because he fought Bivol, it's great? When we didn't see the best of Lyndon Arthur against Bivol. We just seen him fucking lose, and then he fights Anthony Yarde and loses again. What the fuck? What's credible and what's great about beating Lyndon Arthur? Fuck all.
I think it's a fair point, Chris. I think the thing is, and we saw this at the weekend with Dave Allen versus Fisher. Dave Allen knew he had Fisher's number. Knew that after the first fight, and he knew probably something that we perhaps didn't. Anthony Yarde must have known that he had Lyndon Arthur. If he knew, you can hurt a fighter. You know you can stop him. Why didn't he get in that third fight and stop him? And I would suggest perhaps he's slightly on the decline. I'm just putting that out there. Maybe.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But we'll see. We'll see if he fights Smith. But he probably won't fight him because I don't reckon he fancies him in that fight. I don't know.
And Smith said, I'm only going to fight Anthony Yarde if it's a final eliminator or for a world title. That's the only reason why he's going to fight him, because that's all he wants. And that's the only reason why he fought Buatsi. So, yeah.
He's 36, isn't he, Chris? Like, he's in the twilight of his career. He wants to go out with a bang. I understand that.
Exactly.
No, we're not.
Arthur,
no, we're
he's
not.
not a world-class fighter.
No one's undermining him. We're saying it looked like
he ain't world-class.
Anthony Yarde was digging deep, and it was one of those nights where nothing was flowing the way it was, and he done what good fighters do and turned it around. But we're not undermining how good Lyndon is.
Guess what, Spence? You're a fighter. So I don't need to say this to you, but I will for the benefit of the two gentlemen sitting next to you. It's what happens in real fights.
Absolutely, that's what we're saying.
That's what happens in real fights. It's always a big conflict.
Who do you pick to say?
On recent performances, you have to go. Callum Smith will start the favourite going into that one after the fight that he had.
Based on what? Listen.
It's so emotional.
If you're saying based on recent performances, then you have to show me who Buatsi has fought at world class. Because guess what? Lyndon Arthur's been in there with Bivol. He's been in there with Bivol.
John, I'm not saying that, but you can't deny that weren't an absolute barnstormer, and both guys show character beyond belief in that fight. And you look at that and what Callum come through, you got to respect that the guy put in a first-class performance. In many ways, rolled back the years.
Let's finish it on the... Tunde, I'm going to jump in. Let's finish it on this. Where are you at then, mate? This lunchtime, are you telling us, come on, let's get it on? I want my man, Anthony Yarde, to fight Callum Smith. And to those out there who can make that happen, let's do it. That's what you're saying to us.
Jim, it's the only fight that makes not only financial sense, boxing sense. It's a fantastic fight.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
The same table.
We agree with that, mate.
I was sitting on the same table as Callum in the gala, and I said, Callum, he's such an excellent fighter.
Well, I mean, the last bit he said there, Chris, was true, and I'm glad that he said it's the. I wasn't sure if it's the only fight that makes sense. I mean, you still got Anthony Yard, Buatsi. That's still a possibility because there would be a good marker to see Buatsi, obviously, who competitive against Callum Smith. So I think that could be made. But I'm glad he said that. But the rest of what he said is the other thing quick I wanted to say before. I'm sure you got some points as well. When he said, Lyndon, we didn't get stopped by Bivol. He did nothing against Bivol. He got in there and it was damage limitation. He got in there and he did absolutely nothing. So come on, be objective a little bit. Try to.
Exactly.
Like this guy.
He didn't try and win. And it's so frustrating. Like, let's break down the resumes, yeah? So Callum Smith, he beat Rocky Fielding, yeah. I know he's still super. I know
he fought Canelo.
He fought Canelo and lost.
Yeah.
And he beat George Groves. And he beat a very good George Groves.
Yeah.
Beat a prime Eubank Jr. Because Eubank Jr. was looking like the favourite in that super middleweight contest. A lot of people were saying after.
And Rocky Fielding fought Canelo, Chris, didn't he? As well. Rocky Fielding fought Canelo as well, didn't he?
So you can't sit there. So
he's
been a world champion and he's been a reigning world champion. He's defended his title. He's won the Ring Magazine belt. He won the Muhammad Ali trophy. He's got accolades. Anthony Yard has none. And you can't just say, because George Groves retired after that. So what? He was still a good fighter. He was still a world champion.
Yeah.
Do you know, you can't discredit someone, and it's disrespectful. It's out of order just because your fighter's done nothing. So you're clutching at straws, trying to discredit other people's career to make your fighter look bad. At the end of the day, Beterbiev was a fight of the year. Kovalev was not a fight of the year. He won a couple of rounds here and there, but all he did is he nearly knocked him out in one round, and that's it. That's all he did against Kovalev. Yeah. And that was a washed-up Kovalev. It wasn't a prime Kovalev.
End of his career, yeah.
Exactly. So we can say, you can say that, you thought Kovalev don't count because he was shit, he was past his career. If you're saying George Groves don't count, and you can't count losses as an achievement, no matter how good it is, unless it's good.
I know. It's a weird one. I wish they'd asked him some questions like, well, why Tunde? Is he been in at world level? He's fought at world level, at least with world class operators. You can make the Kovalev judgment, and then he's gone back to fighting absolute plumbers. Like he's fought a lot of. I mean, bloody Vilkans, and surely he knows deep down. I know what he's doing. It's like the classic football manager who's like deflecting from his team to protect them. I get it, but. You're going on recent performances, right? Smith got the regular belt or the international belt or whatever it was against Buatsi in a really good win. Yard laboured to a victory against Vilkans, whatever his name was, and didn't have a great performance against Arthur. Like, come on, on the form book is pretty obvious, isn't it?
Exactly that, and I just think it's really out of order of Tunde to do that. Like, say that Callum Smith's not. It's not comparable. If we did, I think. Do you know what you should do? Do a survey. We're going to do a survey, guys. Please cast your votes. Who, at this moment in time, has had the best career, and who do you believe is the better fighter? Do that survey, and I guarantee nobody picks Anthony Yard. Not one person. The only person is fucking Tunde Ajayi. That's it.
But I've always said on this channel, haven't I, Chris? Like I've been a massive fan of Anthony Yard. I've said this from the start. I've said it time and time again. I think he's unrealised potential. He's not fulfilled his potential, and it frustrates me. Not to the same extreme as Dave Allen. And you can have a bit of an Indian summer, but the difference is Dave Allen's 33. Heavyweights mature later. With that experience, Dave Allen, the next 5 years, could have the best portion of his career.
Yeah,
and the Yard light heavyweight, I don't know so much. I think it, to me, looks a little bit like he's on the slide. Still confused in there, shoulder rolling, Philly shell. Then he's a high pressure fighter. then he's a swarmer, then he wants to move about and box a bit. I've never really known what he is. When I look at him, and I've seen him at his best, I think he's a high pressure, volume puncher, dare I say, sort of shades of Canelo, you know, closing the ring. That's when I think he's at his best. But he flatters to deceive. Like, he pisses about too much.
Yeah. Do you know what he is? It's funny you say that. He's a jack of all trades, master of none. Master
That's
of none.
it. That would be a good title if it was a different video. Anthony Yard, jack of all trades, master of none. That's kind of, yeah, that's what it is. And you think with the right, imagine if he had Rob McCracken, Ben Davidson. I'm not saying all these would be a good match for him, whatever, you know, Derek James, whatever. Imagine if he had a serious trainer in there who looked at him in the gym, said, look at this guy, right? He's a physical specimen, promoter's dream, talks well, right? Big, strong lad, hits hard. Right, this is what we're doubling down on. This is what we're doing. Let's go. Not none of this, oh, well, you know, adapt in the ring and box a bit here and shoulder roll here and move around. Do you know what I mean? He's back. We're just saying, like, I don't know how much you sort of caught, but if he had a proper trainer in there who just focused and streamlined on kind of, you know, a couple of skill sets, a couple of skills within his skill set, and just double down on that. You know, you see a lot of world-class fighter. Terence Crawford's a different argument, but Canelo, he's not, right? He's got great defense. He's got, you know, some head move, but he's quite simple. You know what Canelo's going to do in there. Gennady Golovkin, you knew what he was going to do in there. Consistency. And it's the same with any sport. Football, you have your game plan, you have your tactics, and you stick to it. And that's it. And you might have to adapt sometimes, of course. Anthony Yard, like, he's been mismanaged, mistrained, and who do you put the blame on, Chris? Do you put it on Yard for not maybe seeing it and getting out of it, or do you put it all on Tunde? Like, who's to blame?
Exactly. I find it's a bit of both. Yard should have got a new trainer by now after all the fuck-ups and missed opportunities. Yeah. And Tunde is delusional and he just thinks positive reinforcement is the only way to go. And that's it. I think on that note, should we wrap it up?
Wrap it up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Okay then, brother.
Like and subscribe,
everybody. Please leave comments. Like the video, please, because it really helps. And leave comments and subscribe to the channel.
See you on the next one.
We're saying. See you on the next one, guys. See you on the next one.